Yep.
Hey guys, hey, welcome back. Welcome back. So, welcome to the Sit Down with Mac and Mousy, your favorite unapologetic, unfiltered Second Life podcast where we spill all the virtual tea and talk life, loyalty, lag, and Lindens. So, let's get into it. Mac, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. What about yourself, lovely wife?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. Did anything interesting or eventful happen to you this week that you want to share?
Um, so much stuff has happened. I don't know where to like with the shoes. Like a lot of things, a lot of exciting things have happened.
How about we start with what you're working on?
Nah.
No?
Oop,
Okay,
I'm
he
gonna have
doesn't
to
want to
just
do
wait and
that.
see.
Wait, can I tell something exciting? We got matching tattoos, guys, and I really love them. So, okay, let me start here. This is a wolf. It was made by Mocha and World, and I'll put her SL name down below. And it's a custom tat, and Mac has it too on his neck, and we love it so much. Well, I love it. I can't speak for Mac. Mac, do you love it as
Oh,
well?
if I didn't love it, I wouldn't have it on.
Yeah, it's like so dope. So I like that. We'll get to the topic. So we're going to talk about 7 things that we wish we knew about SL before we started that would probably make our life easier, not only in role play, just as a everyday lay resident, and also as just creators or business owners in Second Life. So the first thing that I want to start with is something that people often complain about and also feel like they have no control over. And then I'll hand it over to Mac because I feel like he's a semi expert in this area at this point. And hopefully, maybe he'll also tell us of all the many things that happened, eventful things, he might want to share something as well. So, number one, sometimes the lag is you and it's not the sim. I used to think that a lot of sims were trash, or not the sims itself, but like maybe it had too many scripts, meaning trash in how it was built and not really considering the amount of scripts that were used or things that could cause lag. And that's actually not the case. I recently discovered that not only, you shouldn't have your graphics in ultra or high 24/7, but that if you have low RAM, I would say anything under 16, right, babe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything under 16.
Anything under 16, you will crash frequently, you won't load properly, and you won't be able to like navigate SL and have a really enjoyable user experience. Another thing that we don't talk about is organizing your inventory and keeping it as low as possible. Some people have been in SL for like 15, 10, 15, 20 years, and so their inventory is 100,000 items plus. So guys, just always remember to delete the demos after you've tried them. Go in there frequently. If you don't wear a body anymore, like say older outfits from 4 years ago might be made for Maitreya, Legacy, Slink, Belaza, whatever. And now you're wearing Reborn or Cupra. Maybe delete the bodies that you're not wearing. I know that we all hold on to them thinking, oh, I could switch between bodies, but how often do we really do that? So I kind of wanted to, and any old mesh heads and demo, like any old mesh heads and bodies, try to get rid of those things as well. And I'm going to hand it over to Mac. Mac, tell us about your experience with RAM.
I had a computer, a gaming PC, wonderful PC. Only issue is that baby only had like 8 RAMs on it. So, with me trying to run Second Life, like I would run the PBR, it would pick up everything, but I noticed that like I would crash frequently, and I couldn't go to Sims where it was a bunch of people or just people period without going into friends only because my RAM was so low. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I bought me a new RAM chip about probably like it was like 48 gigs just to like be super safe. I kind of feel like I overdid it, but once I did my thing, my little nerd stuff, and put the RAM in there myself and look. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I told y'all I looked it up on YouTube and went step by step and placed my RAM and powered it up, and I ran fine ever since then. No issues, no crashing. Actually ran pretty smooth. I could turn my graphics all the way up to ultra and still have like a 51.4 frame rate. So I think RAM is a big necessity when running Second Life for sure.
And it's totally underrated because I think people often focus on their graphic cards, but they don't ever think about just the other components of their PC, which makes the gaming experience good.
Can't run those wonderful graphics if you ain't got the RAM for it. It probably will burn your graphics card out if you don't have the RAM for it.
Facts. Babe, so tell us, why didn't you choose to go the Best Buy route? And do you have experience, modifying PCs and laptops? Like, what if people are scared and they don't feel comfortable doing that?
If you are scared, don't mess with it, because it is if you don't know what you're doing, you can go in there and you can like mess up your drive, even
Your motherboard, maybe.
Motherboard, you could damage something very important to your PC. So if you are not 100% comfortable with that, I do advise that you take it to a professional. Me, on the other hand, I'm a hands-on type of guy. Like, I called Best Buy. They're like, well, if you bring it in, it's going to cost you $200, and it's going to take approximately 5 hours, maybe 24 hours before you get your PC back. I said, oh, I can't do that. I ordered my own thing off of Amazon, watched me a YouTube video, and my RAM was updated in 5 minutes.
Wow, that's all it took, 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
And did you have to unscrew and screw things, or was it as easy as sliding something?
I basically had to take off the whole bottom of my laptop, remove the old RAM. It's basically like, if like back in the day, my age is going to show when I say this, but back in the day with like Nintendo, when you would blow the cartridges and stick them into the game, it's kind of like the same thing. You're basically just switching out your cartridge and putting in a new one.
Okay, that sounds really doable.
It is. Once you watch, I didn't know how confident I would be doing it at first until I watched the video. Once I watched the video, I was like, oh, that's it? Easy peasy. Easy peasy.
Okay, so number 2.
I do want to assure you, if you are afraid, if you are not confident in your tech skills, please do not take my advice on that and just seek professional help.
For sure. Number 2, guys. You will go broke fast if you treat Lindens like Monopoly money. You could have little gotcha pulls here, $1,000 fat pack here, 250 Linden top there, skirt there. Next thing you know, you're down so bad you can't even afford a teleport. What are your thoughts on that, Mac?
It just yeah. I can admit I have a bad habit of just throwing this stuff like it's got daggone loose leaf paper. You look up, because I like, okay, so I got a confession to make. Freaking Clout chasers, I got something to say. My name is Mac Pyrex, and I have a gambling addiction. It started off innocent, but then I noticed that, it was days where I would blow through 100K like that. And I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to talk to anybody. Everybody leave me alone. Don't speak to me. Don't talk to me. Penix got my money. Shout out to Penix, though. Shout out to Penix.
We do have fun there, yeah. Shout out.
But yeah, if you're not careful, you can blow through your endings, your hard-earned. Especially if you're a business owner, and you don't really. Sometimes when you're a business owner and on Second Life, and you're constantly getting L's, constant flow on a daily basis, you start to look at it like it's nothing, but it really is real life currency that you can convert. So, you know what I mean? Once you realize the value of your lendings, I think you'll learn to appreciate them.
And it's kind of hard because I remember when Mac and I first started and we had our businesses and we kind of was joking around but serious. If you go back to my YouTube videos from about a year ago, you saw our first office. It was very humble beginnings, but it was like one of our, remember Mac, you were building houses on the platform and I had like these flea market booths as like our little desk with computers, and that was like some of the greatest times in our relationship, excuse me. And little by little we grew. Like there was a point where we would make, I don't know, my gotcha store had 3 sales and it was less than 500 Linden, and I was like super happy and Mac was congratulating me. And then it got to a point where we were making like 5,000 Lindens a week, and then I remember the week Mac made like 2,000 Lindens. Was it a week or in a day?
It was a day.
It was a day.
Yeah.
So we were making a lot of money. And then we always like kind of gambled a little bit. And then, you know, as we started making more money, we would place higher bets and stuff. And so here's the tricky part where you can't get too crazy with the gambling. So as we were making more money, instead of putting like 50 Linden bets, 250 Linden bets, we would be playing like 2,000 Linden games. And me especially, I'd be paying like 7,500 Linden bets or 10,000 Linden bets. And what's the upside to that? We would have days like yesterday. Mac and I made like 450 L's together yesterday. But we also had days where we lost that much L's, or some days where we broke even, but the board says we spent a lot, but we're winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing. So you definitely, so I guess the gambling is a little bit of a separate issue, but the main issue is what's coming in versus what's going out. And like Max said, if you have like several SL businesses, like I have the gotcha business and I sell clothes and I do events or whatever, you're getting money from all different areas and it's hard to keep track of, and you feel like this flow of money is never ending, so you just spend it as quickly as it comes.
I love being an SL entrepreneur. You got unlimited inventory. You
Yeah.
don't run out. This shit don't run out, baby.
Yeah, and so there's a lot, being an SL entrepreneur and being slightly creative, there's a lot of ways to make money on SL. Maybe that'll be another video, but I think that you have like how to make money in SL fatigue. A lot of people have that, but like even YouTube,
Yeah,
you can make.
I can't wait for that video. I got some stuff to teach you guys.
Oh, really?
Power
Like,
at Mac.
okay, because I'm thinking like people don't want to see that video because they've seen so many of them at this point.
Who don't want to learn how to make money in SL? Come on now, people. This shit is expensive.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to where you don't gotta upload and you could just have constantly flow of income on here, where you can pay your tier and buy things you want, all the fat packs that you see and all that stuff, then you know.
Okay, babe, it'll be a bonus. Run them down 3 ways they could make money in SL. I'll give you guys one. Start a YouTube channel. Once you get monetized, you could make a good $100 and $150 a month. You know, if you're consistent, if you have interesting content, you can be monetizable on YouTube. And not only if you're using YouTube for blogs, creators and event owners will pay you to feature their real estate, to feature their clothes. I've been paid for that. I've been paid just to have ads like in a makeover studio so that people, 22,500 Linden, and that was 4 years ago. That was a lot of money back then. That so people could just have ads. So when I filmed videos, it was in the back of me like that. So there's ways to make money just if you have no skills, no meshing skills. Go ahead, babe.
Right. You can make money on Second Life just by doing what you love to do. Like, the way I got into creating on Second Life is because when I was new to Second Life, I couldn't find anything that, you know what I mean, that I could wear or, you know, things that I wanted. So I took it amongst myself, me coming from IMU and already having texture abilities and being able to create over there. I took those skills and just converted them over to Second Life. Sure, I don't know how to mesh or anything, but I did know that there's a such thing called Marketplace, and they sell full permission stuff on there, you know, for a decent amount. Just depends on what you're looking for. And I was taking those meshes and I was basically taking plain base of anything and just turn it into something that I want. And then, you know, people would see like my t-shirt that I have on or my hat, that's something that they never saw before, and they ask me where I got it, and they'd be like, well, why don't you just sell that? Why don't you just sell that? And I was never in it for the money. I was in it because this is what I love to do. I'm naturally a creator. eventually it
Babe,
turned
you
into a
cut out a little
business.
bit. You said I'm naturally.
A creative person, and naturally just do this just because it's fun to me, and it turned into a business, and I've been rolling wheels ever since.
One thing I will say about Mac, naturally creative barely scratches the surface. Like when he's saying that, I feel like he's being extremely humble and modest. Um, this man literally can create something from nothing. I don't want to give out all the secret sauce, but like when he was making the crack cooking stove and using, like, it was really hard. Obviously, the reason you want to find full perm items on the marketplace is because it saves you money. Once you start getting into custom territory, it costs $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for customs. So you want to save money for every mesh that you have as much as you can. And Mac will take a rock and make a drug product out of it, or take a lollipop and make me bath bombs from it, or he just takes anything and make it something that can be used where we don't have to go custom all the way. I don't think it affects the quality of the product, but this leads me to another question, Max. So guys, this is going to be number 3, by the way, right? Number 1 was we were talking about the lag and how you can control that. Number 2, we were talking about let me just go back. You will go broke fast if you don't watch your Lindens and budget it. And number 3, we're talking about how to make money in Second Life and what we knew. So a lot of people might say, you know what, Mac, you obviously created before and you have the skill set, and I don't have the skill set. So what do you mean everybody can make money in Second Life? What if I can't make something out of nothing? What can I do to make money just walking in here?
Well, you just have to find something that you love to do, that you're good at. Like, people naturally come to Second Life and they get a house, and then they decorate their house and they landscape their land. They learn these things naturally just by not knowing what to do and just trying to live a second life. So they eventually start building up an inventory to where they have furniture, they have bushes and grass and landscaping things that they can use and build, these beautiful lands. They could take that and turn it into a landscaping business. It's a lot of people on the grid that, I'm not saying that they can't do it. Some people just don't want to do it. Some people don't have the time to sit there and landscape a whole sim or a land because they're busy. Like, they could be like us and got a million other things to do, and got businesses to run and videos to film, and they don't have the time to landscape. That's an open market. People, I see Instagram. Every other day I'm seeing new landscapers pop on the grid. People naturally, they want to show off their avatar and take pictures. You could be a photographer. You could be a photo editor. You could be a video editor. It just all depends on what you want your Second Life to be. Second Life is designed where, possibilities are endless. You can do anything you want to do. Why not?
Yeah, and when we're talking about your skill sets, like even your real life skill sets, are you a singer? People make money just hosting open, like there are people who have groups. There's this guy, I think his name is Jake something or another, and he sends out teleports every now and again. And I went to one set he did, and he sung like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, and all those different like alternative songs from the 90s. And he makes
Which
tons
brings
of
me
tips.
to my dad. He's very popular DJ on the grid. Shout out to my dad, DJ Ciroc.
Shout out Ciroc.
He makes a very decent living just doing what he loves to do, spinning those records and getting the party turned up and doing his thing. And a lot of DJs make money doing just what they love to do. You just gotta find your thing.
A lot of singers make money. People who have like graphic design skills, they make flyers and posters for these DJs and for events for people like birthday parties. If you're skilled just even at, like, let's say you don't want to be a full scale decorator because that's too hard for you. There's a woman that I hire just to decorate baby showers and birthday parties and things for us, and she does it quick and it's beautiful, more beautiful than I could ever imagine. So whatever real life skill set you have, like let's say you love to read, like I'm an avid reader, and with reading comes, you sometimes are a good writer, maybe not good grammatically, but use ChatGPT for that. You can write texts and mock-ups for people's marketplace. If you're good at marketing, maybe use your social media to market other people's things, join the like for like groups and things like that, and have people pay you to promote for them. Like, there are so many things.
Maybe you're good at networking. Like, you could take some of these, I know some of these SL, like you said, people come here and they make money off of doing live performances. Maybe they do music. If you got good networking skills, you can hire them and they can hire you as their manager. And I've seen managers, I've seen record label execs, I've seen everything. There's nothing that you can't do that you can't make money off of. If you're good at it, I don't feel like there shouldn't be a reason why you're not charging for it.
For sure. Okay. All right. So you don't need a gang, family, or sorority to matter. And this is going to lead into another part, right? And I want to say this. SL is a beta testing ground for life, meaning you can, whatever ideas or rules or restrictions or even open-minded viewpoints that you have about life, or just flirt with, or that kind of, you kind of mull over in your mind, SL is a good place to test it, right? You could test out a lot of things like dating strategies, business strategies, life strategies, and see how successful you'll be. But one thing I will tell you is that whatever insecurities you have, SL is going to bring it out, just like it would in real life. And I think it's a great sort of ground to learn yourself, if that makes sense. I want to give a little bit more of an example of that. So if you're the type of person who can't stand firm, 10 toes down on your own, having a family or a sorority or whatever, being a part of a community is not going to change that for you, because that's some internal work that you need to do yourself. I know a lot of people want to be in like bigger families in SL because it feels like it gives them some sort of validation, but that validation has to be internal. You're not going to get that from the family that you're in. If you're not in that family anymore, what happens? Are you just like not shit? Like, so these are some things that you have to consider, and you want to join the right organizations or families, whatever you want to call it, for the right reasons. What are your thoughts, Mac?
You know my thoughts. I feel like a lot of people come to the grid and they see, the big families and they think it's all peaches, but when you get into that family, you realize, oh shit, it's just full of drama. Like, why is my brother cussing me out? I don't even know this dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you get in the family. I feel like if you're going to join a family, to me, you should build that bond with that family first. Don't just hop in it head first, not knowing what you're getting yourself into because they got a name or they got some sort of a clout on the grid, because you could be getting yourself into some shit.
And although I think it is spoken about, a lot of these families have more drama than they do value, right? If you're finding yourself arguing with people in your family 24/7, you having to prove yourself, or feeling like you need to do X, Y, Z and SL to fit in and not feel like an outsider within your own family, clique, community, or gang, this may not be for you. I just think that you need to be solid as a person before you join anything. And that's no different than real life.
Thanks.
Do you have anything to add to that, Mac?
I think you hit it on the nose, baby.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I was just playing with my camera angle a little bit. So I will say that, okay, so this leads me to number 5. I kind of touched on this. I think it's number 6. I'm not even really sure, guys. SL will mirror your real life healing or lack of it. And guys, might be triggering for some, because it's going to hit. If you're an insecure, codependent, avoidant, or a person who's chasing validation in real life, baby, SL is only going to magnify it tenfold. Use SL as a mirror or a mask, but one that only leads to growth. So like I said, I think that a little bit of introspection goes a long way. Like, you might have to ask yourself, why are you doing certain things? Like, and for what reasons? Like, I don't know. Like, I've seen things that were just outright wrong. And I'll give you guys an example. Like, if you go to certain RP sims, there's no RP. It's just like a continuum of just nonstop arguing and fighting. And then I see people jumping into that, and they're defending people who are just like dead ass wrong, 1,000% wrong. You see one person like humiliating another person, really trying to take them down to size, and then you join in. Like, you have to question yourself and like, why are you doing these things, and whose approval are you trying to get, and kind of figure out like what your intention is here. Like, why do you want to be here, and if this aligns with your overall goal. If you're a shitty person in real life, not for nothing, more than likely you're going to be a shitty person in SL.
It's gonna be 100 times worse. And I would like to add something onto that. Like, a lot of the times Sims fail. Like, a lot of Sims that are trying to do, like, let's just urban roleplay. Let's just use that as an example. When you try to open these type of sims, you want to make sure that you have your rules and your structure already in place before you start building your traffic up. Because I tell you one thing, they're going to come over there, they're going to TP their lists, and it's going to be a bunch of drummified trolls, and they're all going to stand in a circle, and they're all just going to fucking insult each other all day long. There ain't going to be no roleplay and no fun. It's going to destroy, like, the funness of your sim, because who wants to come to a sim, you know, that they're trying to have fun and roleplay, and they may be renting from there, and you go there and you just get bully. Like, who wants that? Like, Second Life is supposed to be like a, you know, decompressor. You know, you get online to escape reality, and you don't want to get online and feel like you got to go in here and defend yourself 24/7 against a bunch of motherfuckers that ain't got shit going for themselves.
Yeah. And to Mac's point, right? Like, if you're on a sim like that, and let's say that I know for like a year or two when I first joined SL, I would go to a lot of these sims. Like, there's been so many. They change over, I feel like, every 6 months, but I'll tell you some of the older ones, like the Burb, Walmart, and I forget, there was more, like these kind of urban roleplay sims. And I remember for the first 2 years, I would never even speak because I was just afraid if I said something, like it would be taken out of context or it would start a fight. And I later realized it wasn't like that, and I just had to be like confident in myself no matter what and just stand on what I said, and that was it. But it's a great way to get to know people, but it's not a great way to really create the environment and the role play community that you want if you allow for these things. So Mac, here's the question, because we're urban RP sim owner. So if somebody says, oh, if you don't allow people to do that on your land, then the role play won't get cracking and it's not going to be fun. Like, you have to, it comes with it. What are your thoughts there?
I think that's BS, because there's no part of freaking roleplay where you feel like you gotta fucking defend yourself and fucking insults. Like, people don't know how to keep it roleplay. Okay, if you're gonna fucking have beef with somebody, let it be roleplay. Like, people get on here and they really try to get personal with people. They start, like, you know, doing research and exposing people's RL pictures and start talking about them and their real lives,
their kids, and calling CPS
and all kind of shit. Yeah, like, you know, swatting and all this stuff that's unnecessary. Like, we don't get on Second Life for that. Like, I tried. That's why, like, if you see me, you see me, and if you see me in public, 9 times out of 10, I'm either with my wife or I'm by myself. For the simple fact, I feel like I don't have anything in common with these other guys on Second Life, because all they want to do is fucking get on here and try to motherfucking flex on you, try to outdo you, compete with you, and make everything a competition, when motherfuckers should be trying to build together and create something that everyone could benefit from. But everybody always wants to be that guy, instead of us all coming together and being the shit together. Like, I don't know. That's just my perspective of it. A lot of people are in it for the wrong reasons, and that's what destroys the fun.
Yeah, I want to add something, another layer to this, and this is something I often tell Mac, because if anybody knows Mac, or if anybody's heard about Mac, Mac's mouth is like a lethal weapon. He will annihilate you, and it's just a lot going on when he feels like he's disrespected. But I want to say, I've often said this to Mac, but I'll say this to everybody else. Everybody doesn't deserve a response. Like sometimes, like it's okay to walk away. Sometimes it's okay to ignore people because it's the internet and people are anonymous, so you're definitely going to find yourself in these situations, but everyone does not deserve a response from you. Do you feel like because I feel like you've been practicing that some, do you feel like that works too, or you got to say something?
Fuck around and find out.
Okay, so we'll leave that there. All right, so guys, we talked about the lag in SL because that's one of the bigger complaints that we have here and ways that you can control it on your end. Number 2, you don't need a gang, family, or sorority to matter. Number 3, you'll go broke fast if you treat Lindens like Monopoly and money. Number 4, SL will mirror your real life healing or lack of it. We gave you number 5, which was a bonus. It's like how to make money in SL. We kind of wish we knew that when we first started. And then number 6, like, so for those of you who actually want to start businesses or make deals with people for customs and like chains or outfits or meshes and things like that, note card contracts matter. Even if it's the business is informal, even if you're not a top tier creator or anything like that, if you're doing any kind of business RP, collabs, rentals, splits, write it down. Use a note card. Don't rely on verbal trust. If you're doing some type of business transaction on Instagram or Facebook, I always tie it back to SL. Like, so if I'm paying you, A, I want to pay you in Lindens, and B, I want to just summarize everything we've discussed on other social platforms in Second Life via note card. And the reason why we're doing this is, God forbid something happens, you want Linden Labs to intercede for you. Because the L's are going to disappear a lot faster than loyalty promises or loyalty or any promises that are made. Always screenshot terms. And I don't care if you're your SL partner, your SL mom, business is business. Mac, do you have any stories or anything you want to share? Or anything to add?
Too many.
Really?
I want to add this. I want to say this. Always be sure of the say you order in a custom piece or a custom mesh. Always be sure of that person's custom history. Like, for instance, make sure that they do good business. Make sure that it's a reliable source that you're getting. Say, who. You gotta find out where you're getting your stuff from. So you ask your buddy, hey, where you get this from, and then you contact that person. You want to make sure that this is a valid person that you're actually working with, because they will what's your Discord, and they'll try to get you to talk on a different platform so that Second Life cannot trace any transactions. If you do business, make sure you, like wife said, make sure you have that paper trail to show Linden Labs, just in case they try to run off on the plug on you, because it will happen.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories on that. What's that Deadly channel on SL where he's always exposing somebody who's gotten scammed, and you always hear stories of somebody ordering a custom and never getting what they paid for. And that's another thing too. Always get it in writing. Like if the creator, like most creators these days, they're gonna feel like, oh, you have to pay up front before I start, or blah 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 blah. That's not necessarily true, but if it is the case, make sure you get it in writing. You get screenshots, you get verbal agreements, you get it in writing, all that, because like I said, a person will get, I feel like when you pay your creator up front, they've already been paid for work they didn't do. So now they feel like, oh, I could take my time, or, the quality isn't going to be there because now, they took so long to create your shit. Now they about to just rush through it just because they've been sitting on your custom for weeks and weeks, and you finally hit them up like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, yeah, I started it, and then it comes out some BS. So always make sure you're doing.
That's facts. And I want to just piggyback on what Mac is saying. So this is something Mac taught me. Like, he was like, never ever pay full price for everything up front. Because sometimes people would ask, I mean, knock on wood, for the most part, this has worked out for me. But I've been in situations, even with Mac, where it hasn't. Tell you one. So try to pay half at first and half when the work is completed. And now let's talk about when the work is completed, because me and Mac was recently in this situation where a scripter who did many jobs for us and had no problem and did really good work overall. We had no issues with this person's work, and I thought like we're gonna have a long-standing relationship with the scripter. I treated him well, made sure I tipped, did all the stuff, and he came back with one product that he got paid half for. He sent us the other half of the product, and I just sent the money. And Mac was like, why did you send him our money? Like, why didn't you look at it and make sure everything was done? And I was like, babe, he's never like cheated us or did anything wrong. Sure enough, something was wrong with this particular product. And we went back and tried to get him to redo it and fix it, and he ghosted us basically. And so that was a life lesson right there. So yeah.
Good thing I am who I am, because I'll get in some strips in a minute. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
My good old friend ChatGPT cleaned it up in a minute.
All right, guys, this is the last one. Alt abuse in Second Life is a real thing. So alt abuse is when someone uses multiple avatars to manipulate, spy, or emotionally mislead others. It can involve stalking your locations, pretending to be someone new to test your loyalty, returning under a new identity after some drama, or living double lives in multiple relationships. Heartbreak hits when you realize you were being played and then you fell for it without your knowledge. Being ghosted by someone who's secretly watching you, or discovering that multiple people were actually one person in disguise. It's like a serious betrayal layered with confusion and a lot of hurt. So how do you avoid this in Second Life? I want to say that it's okay. Go ahead, Mac. Go.
No, you go ahead, baby. Go first.
I kind of feel like it's virtually impossible to avoid, though. You do think that too?
It is. It all just basically comes down to trusting your partner. Because at the end of the day, like, if a motherfucker isn't honest with you about that, you know what I mean? It's like there's no way that you can actually prove it unless, you know, you're like me and I'm like, shit, TP the motherfucker in. Let's chat with this art of mine.
And everybody's gonna chat, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, you never know. Like, be wary of those who don't voice.
Really, there's some people who just don't voice because, like, let's say I'm a person and I'm a male playing a female or female playing a male, so I don't want to voice because I don't want to get out of character.
If you can't be yourself when it comes to those type of things, then you just shouldn't be on that avatar. If you can't be on a female's avatar and talk with your voice like this, hey yo, my name's Stace, you know what I'm saying? How you doing? You know, you're not being yourself. You're not being your true, unapologetically, you know what I'm saying, yourself. Like, you should be able to do that with no, if you are, you know what I'm saying, if you. A lot of people are shielding themselves. A lot of people are, you know what I mean, escaping through these alts and you know, doing things and hurting people in the process.
I think, okay, so I disagree slightly with Mac. I think he's right. Like, if you're just going to own who you are 100% and live in your authentic truth, you should have no problem showcasing anything. Yes, that's true. However, there are some people who's like, this is my roleplay character and I don't want to break character and I don't want any distractions. I think that's fine. But what I mean,
that's respectable if you're upfront about that, but at the same time,
yeah, you got to be upfront. Like, I think that you should be, like, people shouldn't think you're an RP woman or man and have a relationship with you and then find out that's not the case. Even if it is just SL only, I do think that you have to disclose certain things just so that everyone feels comfortable.
Because we all know how freaking Second Life is. You know, somebody catch wind of that, and then they're like, they know the history of this person. Like, oh, this person is a man on this account. And you're in a relationship. Oh, this person's gay. He went with a man. Like, I didn't know this. This
And guys, not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, if,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
But you don't want someone
like,
to be
are
like
very harsh on here.
Yeah, like humiliated over something that they really didn't know and didn't really consent to. Like, you just do have to be upfront and honest about certain things. And that leads me to kind of, so I would say keep your head on a swivel, use discernment. And if someone is giving you red flags in small areas, just watch the patterns. Patterns never lie. If someone is like, we all tell white lies, we lie here and there, but if someone's a habitual liar and then you suspect that they're on an alt or they're tricking you or testing your loyalty, more often than not, you are probably 100% right. Just trust your intuition. I will say that. But this also leads me to another bonus, which is, don't feel pressured to do anything, because I know on certain sides of the grid, like, people feel like your avatar needs to look like you in real life, or you need to show your BTA, or you need to tell details about your life or your children or these kind of things. And I've seen people be peer pressured into doing that kind of stuff. Like, you don't need to do that. Second Life is a virtual reality, but it's also, you're on the internet. So if, whether you have an amazing job or relationship or social standing or you don't, and what I mean by that is some people feel like they have more things to lose than others, so definitely don't want to share any aspect of their personal life. And there's some people who may not have as much to lose, but still don't want to share any aspect of their personal life. And you guys are both 100% correct, because at the end of the day, we're still on the internet. And if people start exposing you, your job number, your job email, I've watched people have their nudes exposed. I've watched people have their jobs called nonstop by a bunch of other people in a friend group that they were beefing with. I've watched pictures be put up of other people. I think that even happened to Mac. Thankfully, he's gorgeous, so it didn't matter anyway. Like, I've watched so many things happen. So I wouldn't tell these mofos what color socks I had on, to be honest with you. Like, it's nobody's business, because you have to remember, like, this is not a highly secured place. It's not, Mac. Like, so when you're telling people stuff or giving out too much information, like, for example, giving out your phone number in real life could lead to your picture, your job on LinkedIn, and it could lead to your physical address being put out. So just be very careful and very discerning about who you share with. Live your second life for you and no one else.
You made me think about that day in that chat. The dude tried to expose me. They was like, but he's not even ugly, though. I know he felt stupid. Thought you was doing something saucy, Santana.
But and it's not right that people want to do that, but like, that's what we're dealing with. The maturity levels are not all the same, and a lot of people don't have good sense. So just protect yourself in the best way that you can.
Somebody tried to spread a rumor about me that I didn't have legs.
Oh yeah, there was a rumor that Mac was in a wheelchair. That was another thing. Like, yeah, people, because he was sitting down during an argument with someone on Instagram Live, which I don't even know why. This was before me, guys, because I would have never allowed him to even be on Instagram Live engaging in that sort of nonsense. So next time you argue with somebody, make sure you stand up and you're running around doing jumping jacks.
I definitely was. I was like, you mean these legs right here? Look what I can do.
It was crazy. That was a real rumor for a long time that he was in a wheelchair. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, things get really out of control really quickly.
And people would try to, listen. Small thing to a giant, man. You just gotta basically know who you are at the end of the day.
Period. That's 100% federal facts if I ever heard it. So guys, that's it. That's kind of 7 things we kind of wish we knew before starting SL. If you guys want us to do one more focused on money, I don't know if you guys have money fatigue on SL, you're tired of hearing about it, but give you actual instructions that you feel like is easy to follow. Follow my gotcha series. I'll post my sales recently that I did, and I'll reiterate how to start from beginning to end starting your own gotcha business. And it's a very, very small startup cost. And Mac does a lot of things here, like tattoos. He does clothes and houses and drug products, but he's such a gatekeeper. So how much do you want to share, Mac?
What you want me to share?
Oh, if we do a how to make money in SL, how much of your secret sauce?
If you want to get some money just tap in with Mac and I'll show you how to get it. Hit me in world at 100 bands.
Oh, you're not doing a broadcast about it? Like
hit me in world about 100 bands and we'll get you set up to get money today. Right.
Oh, that's right, because Mac has the vendors for the drugs. So if he sets you up like a weed vendor. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you did that. Okay, I'm not supposed to share that. Okay.
Hit me up in world if you're interested in getting some money today, right now.
Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, that's very true. A lot of people have. There's a lot of people who have his vendors, and they're doing really, really well with it. So, yeah. So that's it for us. We'll talk to you later. This is the Sit Down with Mac and Mousy. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye, guys.